54,000 jobs added in the month of August. And yes, you heard me correctly, 54,000 jobs. Welcome back to the channel. Tune in or ghost out. The newly released August jobs report from the government showed that 54,000 jobs were added, signaling a major slowdown is happening in the economy. But I think slowdown is very nice. I think at this point we're just full on hitting the brakes. As well as an underwhelming jobs report, we're seeing unemployment tick up again, 2 months back to back. I wonder if Trump's gonna fire this guy too. But sadly, this report will probably go ignored. At the time of me recording this, there's so much more drama happening with the government that a bad jobs report is probably the least of their worries. Like, the Epstein victims just had a press conference and said that they were going to make their own client list and release it. So fixing the job market probably isn't on the top of the list right now. But I think that's even more reason for us to talk about it. And you guys seem to enjoy these videos, so why not? My biggest issue with the jobs market in such a decline right now is not the fact that it's in a decline, because in 2008 this happened, and then the Great Depression happened. Like, we go through these periods of time. But the thing that's scariest about this one is there's really no end in sight. With the world on fire from both ends, and the fact that the structure of our job market at the current state makes no sense with the introduction of AI, it's hard not to be worried or just think about the possibilities in the future that are going to happen, especially because the people who are currently in charge have no clue what they're doing. I don't know how you manage to upset every side of the political aisle in a matter of less than a year. I want to introduce a new segment, and we're going to call it How the Government Wastes People's Money. Instead of paying back debt or trying to find some way to jumpstart the job market, our government just went ahead and bought 10% of Intel, but framed it as if Intel gave them 10% for free. But in reality, the government bought 10% of Intel with taxpayer dollars. If you don't know why this is such a terrible idea, it's for the simple fact that Intel is not even a powerhouse anymore. They're not cutting edge on anything. Even in gaming, where they used to have the best chips, but more and more they're losing more share of the market to AMD. But for some reason, our government thinks it's such a big brain play to buy them. I'm very big on keeping things fair, and if I judge one person one way, I have to do it for the next. And during the financial recession of 2008, when Obama decided to buy shares in the banks to help bail them out, I thought that was very stupid. Even as young as I was, I never understood the idea of bailing out banks that failed themselves. But in a turn of events, a Republican president who made fun of that same president for doing that same exact thing turned around and spent taxpayer dollars to invest into a company. This is socialism. But at the core of the matter, it's just dumb. Intel, a company that has been losing profits and stance for more than a decade, why would you attach our country to that? I know they're based in America, but why do we have to tackle on their debt and risk when we already have so much debt and risk ourselves? And the reason for doing this made even less sense. We had $10 million left over from the CHIP Act that Joe Biden signed. The only reason the $10 billion were left untouched was because Intel didn't reach the profit markers to access that $10 billion. And instead of putting that to pay our debt, we had just given them the $10 billion for free. I know I just went on a tangent, and I'm not blaming the current president for everything, because a lot of this did start post 2019. But some of the decisions being made now are off mark at best, especially with all the Epstein drama going on. I've never seen someone really tarnish their face card this fast. Bro came in as the people's champ. He did better in every demographic possible, but not even a few months in the president's office and we're already protecting Jeffrey Epstein. What are we doing here? How does that pertain to jobs? I know I just talked a lot of mess about the current government, but how does that affect jobs, you're wondering? Well, a lot of people feel like no one's taking the job problem seriously, and guess what? They're not. These numbers have been bad before the current president sat in that chair, but just like the previous one, everyone's just kind of ignoring it, hoping that it gets better, and it's not getting better. On top of that, I think the job market being in the bad place that's in right now is being used as a ploy by the government to justify rate cuts, which will boost the economy temporarily, but once that boost is gone, then we're faced with stagflation, or the reality that we're in a worse situation than we were before we cut rates. You know, the more we talk about this stuff, the more I have to emphasize that the reason we're in the current place that we are in now is because all the generations before us kept chasing tax cuts and interest rate cuts, and instead of bearing the brunt to fix the economy for a certain period of time and then having a good economy that can stand change, We would rather rely on the easy thing and try to keep prices as low as possible for as long as possible, holding back the floodgates of inflation, which has caused our generation to get the brunt and not be able to afford a house. Every time I make these job market videos, I just kind of get more tired, not of trying, because I know I'm gonna find something and I know it's gonna work out, but I'm tired of 80-year-olds making the choices about the things that are gonna affect the people who actually have to work. I'm not trying to be ageist, but it doesn't seem like there's a fair distribution of power right now. And a lot of the talk that I see about this is just calling us dumb, or that we don't know what we want and we are just all guzzling Starbucks and everything. The reason a lot of our generation is in this nihilism and not having faith in the future or saving up for a future is because for many of us it doesn't seem like it exists. Every month that has less and less jobs being made and a job report that's worse than the one before it, then that means more people in the prime of their life unable to move on and do things to progress it. I'm tired of the constant gaslighting from the older people telling us that it's easy. And I say this every video. But when our own government is telling people that they should stop going for jobs in tech or office jobs and just go to trade jobs, that's not fair. The richest people, the people in these high up there companies, were not plumbers and they didn't want to be plumbers. But instead, the people who are at the top who have the most money are telling people at the bottom that they shouldn't pursue the same jobs they did. This just seems like a way to consolidate power and keep people who are in a bad spot in that bad spot, which at the heart of it is really my discontent for AI. Having an AI in your pocket that can answer any and every question on paper is a great thing. It makes life easier, truthfully. But when it takes the positions at work that people strive for, that's kind of when it becomes a problem. Nvidia, Planetaire, all these high up there companies, the people who control them started off at low level. They started off coding or programming or doing something in the field. And on top of that, they're trying to figure out how to live forever. I think we're cooked. Like, we're cooked. The dream of retiring at 60, which is now looking more like 65 to 70. If they find a way to extend human life, you might not retire till 100. Somebody has to foil the plans of these world leaders and Planetaire. We need to find some better solution than this. But in positive news, I can tell you that we are going to see some relief in the job market, at least for the end of the year. This is an artificial inflation of jobs because it is almost fall and holiday season. A lot of companies will be hiring temporary workers from Amazon to UPS. And while it will boost the numbers for a little bit, it'll still be under what the previous years were just because it's that much of a cost crunch right now. If I sounded upset this video, it's because I am. Every time we talk about the job market, it gets me a little bit more annoyed each time. As somebody who is navigating this market, every report that comes out that's bad just reinforces in my mind that I'm looking for like a needle in a haystack. But that does not mean we give up. My goal wasn't to upset you with this video. It was simply to present the facts and tell you my take on it. If you agree or disagree with anything I said in this video, drop a comment, let me know why. How do you feel about this jobs report? And how do you feel about the current times in general? If you haven't liked the video yet, please go ahead and drop a like and a subscription. Does more for me than you could ever know. With that being said, thank you for tuning in. Until next time.
Transmission complete. Signal terminating. This is Ghostthread, signing off.